Hey, it's Arcsecond. In this video I'll cover 10 tips for laning. Tip number 1. Analyze your opponent's setup. The majority of ranged champions have 30 base MR and around 21 base armor. The majority of melee champions have 32 base MR and around 25 base armor. Any more will be from runes and masteries. You also want to check their items after every time they shop. If they bought a refillable potion, they'll make the first round of laning weaker, but afterwards they can gain a gold advantage from it. If they're building defensive, more trades and mana will be necessary in order to push them out of lane. However, they'll push slower and it'll be easier to gain wave pressure. Tip number 2. Adjust your play to the enemy summoner spells. If they took teleport, they have the option to look for a quick base to refill resources and gain an item advantage, which makes it better to keep them in lane. If they took ignite, take early trades carefully. If they took exhaust, be careful pushing the lane as it can be used to assist with a gank. Tip number 3. Watch for patterns. Watch how quickly your opponent starts pushing once a new wave arrives. Watch how they move when you go for a last hit and how often they go for a ras. Also watch where they position themselves once the wave has been cleared and keep track of how often they leave lane and recall. Tip number 4. Watch the creeps that your opponent has to last hit. Your opponent's last hit window depends on the amount of damage they can do with autos and abilities. As your opponent is going for a last hit, you can step forward to harass, or as if you were going to harass to scare them off of the creep. When your opponent doesn't have any creeps to go for, they'll be more likely to look for harass on you. If you're looking to harass your opponent soon, it's good to finish off CS that is getting low first. Anytime your opponent autos a creep, that window can also be used to match their push safely, which is most important for melee champions. Tip number 5. Fight with Minion Aggro. Normally before trading, you want to wait for the wave to settle in so you don't attract Minion Aggro. This has to be done again once your melee creeps have been killed. When trading, using abilities won't draw Minion Aggro, only autos will. To zone and trade aggressively, you can move in front of their range creeps to avoid drawing aggro from melee creeps. If the enemy tries to fight on your side of the wave, you can counter by fighting them before they pass your range creeps, and once they have to escape Minion Aggro, you can follow for one additional auto. Tip number 6. Save resources. A good rule of thumb is to save enough mana for one combo. Without mana, you can no longer bluff harass. With mana, there's a chance you can turn on them or contribute and set up a gank. Also, if you trade your last mana for poke on the enemy, you won't have abilities to fast push the wave to tower. Tip number 7. Trade with XP advantages. Early game, it's the easiest to keep track of the enemy XP and timing of level ups. When you're about to level up, position yourself in range of the enemy to take advantage of the power spike. Having hotkeys for leveling up abilities will maximize the level advantage. Tip number 8. Trade more often with the wave on your side of the lane. When the wave is pushing out, you have more to gain from trading since you might be able to push them out of the lane and deny them CS. You also have minion damage if they try to turn or if their jungler comes. When trading, think about how your trade will affect the wave and what position you'll be in afterwards. If there is a large wave coming your way, the risk of trading is greater. You can walk in and out of the minion wave to try to bait out their abilities and make them push the wave towards you. Tip number 9. When behind in lane, the enemy will likely harass you at the first chance you present to them. Use this to bait out abilities. Step right into their range and then step back right away. This is more believable if you're going for a last hit, which can be given up to secure more CS once their abilities are down. Tip number 10. Once you have gained an advantage in lane, you generally want to keep your opponent in lane as long as possible. Pushing the wave in will make it more likely they stay. If they're trying to back, count down their recall timer and then move to stop it right before it channels. Bonus mid lane tip. Trade on your strong side of the map. The side that either has good vision or has another teammate who could help swing the fight. Avoid falling a trade into the enemy's strong side. Also, if you're pushed up and get ganked, it's faster to escape through the side bush if they're unable to chase. Please let me know if this was helpful, and thank you so much for watching.